it was, my friends, 7 years ago today that UFC 223 happened in Brooklyn. Without a doubt, the craziest fight week of my career covering the sport. And I would say to, in most people's eyes, if you were a fan, a pundit, an analyst, a UFC employee, anyone associated with MMA, I don't think anyone had ever experienced anything like that. We've experienced nothing like it since. And I would be very surprised if we ever experience anything like it in the near future or at all in our lifetime. I remember driving home. I was coming home from Montreal, coming back to New York. We had our Passover break. I believe it was Easter Sunday, and I believe it was April 1st. And I got word that the Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson fight that was supposed to headline here in New York, in Brooklyn at Barclays on April 7th, was no more. And this was a fight that they tried to make a couple times. And then I found out that Tony tripped and he blew out his knee while doing media just a couple days prior at Fox, who at the time was the broadcast home of the UFC. It's like, no way. There's no way. And then I started to find out, and this is all during the drive. This is like a 6-7 hour drive with little kids. And then I find out they're talking to Max Holloway, who at the time was the 145 pound champion. And he's going to move up to 155 on 6 days' notice to fight Khabib, who was trying to become the champion at 155 because they took the belt away from Conor. He was inactive, all this stuff. Man, this is insane. Now, there's two things that I'll definitely never forget about that particular day. Number one, Khabib was scheduled to be in studio on the show the next day, back when we were all friends. And this had been in the works for a while, and I was like, I guess we're not going to get him. True to his word, he showed up in the midst of all this, and it wasn't even official just yet, the Holloway fight. But what I really won't forget is that on the drive home, we stopped off at a place called the Sagamore in St. George's. No, not St. George's, in Lake George. St. George's was a school in Montreal. In Lake George, my kids at the time my daughter was 1.5. My oldest son, Oliver, was 6, almost 6. My other son was 4. And we stopped off to eat lunch, and my kids had these things called globbies. I think I've told this story on the show before. These little things that these little like plastic balls that you put them in water and then they expand. They get really big.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if that was like a mocking or if you know. Anyway, I went to the bathroom. I came back, and my wife said that some of them are missing, and she wasn't sure if my daughter ate one of them. And then I freaked out. I freaked out. And so we had to give her, so raisins would make her go to the bathroom, number 2. So we had to give her a ton of raisins to make her go to the bathroom. And we stopped off at an urgent care, but they were closing. It was a Sunday. They wouldn't see us. I was so nervous. She starts going number 2, like she's Lupe Godinez before a fight in Mexico, if you get what I'm saying. And it's just all coming out, which is actually a relief. Usually on a long drive, you don't want that to happen. But here we're like, okay, it's a relief. We came to the conclusion that she probably didn't eat it. But what could happen is if they digest it, it can expand their stomach and bad things, like nightmare scenario can occur. Anyway, next day, Khabib comes on the show. That was a crazy scene. Nothing really the Tuesday, the Artem Lobov run-in happened. The Wednesday, I remember there was like an ice storm here. A tree fell outside my house. They had the press conference in Brooklyn. Holloway and Khabib. That was pretty tense. Thursday, the Dolly incident. We're doing the media day, Barclays Center. We leave. I'm on my way back to the Vox studios. I get a text from Ally Quinta, who's in the bus while it's being attacked, telling me that he thinks either a terrorist or Conor McGregor has attacked the bus. Then he starts sending me videos. I probably have them if I just go through my phone right now. We go and do the MMA beat. MMA beat's over. I get a call from Khabib where he's talking about send location, all this stuff, going off on Conor. After the show, go to the Brooklyn courthouse, myself and Casey. We stayed there till like 1, 2 a.m., standing outside, waiting for Conor McGregor to be booked. In the end, we never caught a glimpse of him because he went through the back door. He was arrested. That was incredible. It was like myself, TMZ, some other local news guys. Insanity. Wake up Friday, go to the morning weigh-ins while the court appearance is happening at the same time. Find out Max Holloway not going to make weight, not even going to step on the scale, was called off. Prior to that, Iaquinta made weight for his fight against Paul Felder, but over 155, UFC's just like, yeah, it's a title fight for us. It's our belt. Kick rocks. After the weigh-ins, go to the courthouse for like 8 hours, and all of a sudden, it's Conor in the courthouse. Like, who would have thought the week would start this way? Insanity. Fight happens. Iaquinta. Oh, then after Friday, we go to the weigh-ins. Then they do a press conference all of a sudden for Khabib and Iaquinta. Started the day with Iaquinta weighing in to fight Paul Felder. Ends the day at Barclays on the dais fighting Khabib. Dizzying. And then the fight happens. Masterclass by Iaquinta. Dug down deep, but didn't get it done. I'm just kidding, of course. It pisses them off when I give Iaquinta any type of props, even though he took the fight on 23 hours notice. Of course, you're going to give him props. But no, Khabib wins fair and square, rather dominant. I remember the post-fight press conference on that Saturday was like 3 a.m. And do you remember, New York Rick? Iaquinta joined us on the Monday after, wearing the purple robe and smashed his computer.
I do remember.
He joined us from his attic. And I was like, yo, man, you just had the most insane weekend of all time, and now here you are sitting in a purple robe in your attic.
Shout out to an absolute legend. That was the best.
What a week.
Yeah, crazy.
What are your memories from that? Do you have any memories? Or did I just cover it all?
You covered, like, yeah. It was
By the way, that was all off the top of the dome. We didn't really prepare. I should have had some things prepared, but like, I just remember every single day something seismic happened.
Your retelling of it doesn't quite capture the...
Oh, thanks.
Insanity. It does a great blow by blow, but it doesn't quite cover the insanity of like people freaking out when they have the Artem Lobov Habib like interaction. Doesn't cover like the insanity of the actual Dolly part of it, like what the internet was like at that point. Then the Habib send location. The one that he did for like the media, right after the event. Dana White saying it was like the most disgusting thing he's ever seen. There was just there was a new piece of content every 5 seconds, it seemed like, for that. And also like how good the Max Holloway versus Habib press conference was. It was like actually really fun and great. And then all of a sudden it's not even happening.
In Williamsburg.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
That was the same event, by the way, if my memory serves me correct. I think that was the same event, that same... You know, when I talked about seeing Ari Emanuel, and he said, let's hug it out, bitch.
Yeah.
At that event in Brooklyn. I think, or it might have been the one where Derek Brunson fought Anderson Silva. In any event, it was just an all-time week. And so I've seen a bunch of clips, and 7 years ago, I'm like, wow, 7 years ago. I'm not sure if it feels like it was 7 years ago or 20 years ago.
It feels like 70 years ago.
Yeah. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up. Leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.